Okay. So let's see. We can see that. I left the Trump-Harris thing up here because I thought that we're going to, that's going to affect crypto directly, this Trump and Harris election that's going on right now. So we'll leave that up there. But I do have the presentation. It'll be up on all the other screens. So it's, I'm going to do the newbie presentation, although I know a lot of you aren't newbies. I think then I would just go back and say, hey, we all are newbies. So we all need to learn this stuff, or if at the very least, it'll maybe create some conversation. It'll make things a little easier for us to understand in terms of what's going on with this election and how this could affect crypto, and we can get into all kinds of stuff. So it is a newbie meetup, so we do have to cover some newbie stuff, but by all means, if anybody wants to get any specific questions answered, just, speak up. I mean, we're pretty informal here, as Brock can attest to. There's no real rules. It's just, good whiskey and good fun and crypto, right? One tiny little sip.
No, if he doesn't want to.
Oh, no.
You guys.
That is okay, believe me, it's okay. It's not a problem at all. All the music that we have on the YouTube video channel that we do for this CryptoNutz group is all original, because we created all that music is all original. And there's some pretty good tunes on there, especially if you're into crypto. But this one is Crypto Basics for Newbies, Unraveling Bitcoin, the Blockchain, and Beyond. It's a pretty quick presentation, so we'll get through it pretty fast, and then we'll have questions and talk about Trump and Harris and see what's going to happen here. And as we'll just solve everything tonight, and we'll just take care of it all for them. And if they need any advice, I'll just I'll email them and tell them we've got all the answers for them. So so we've been meeting since about 2015. I know it sounds mind-boggling, but it's really true. And we've been spreading the good crypto word for that length of time. And the only reason that we started this, the only reason that we did this, is to give back to the community, to actually make it where people can get information that's good information. They can talk to people that are into crypto. It's not just about, I do the presentations and others do the presentations and stuff, but that's not really what it's about. It's more about just talking with other people that are into crypto, because your family's tired of hearing about it, let's face it. So at least this way you have other people that are interested in it and you can talk about it. And then as time goes on and the price keeps going up, and the people that are involved in crypto get wealthier and wealthier, well, guess what? They're all going to get interested if they haven't already. And it always makes me realize that since we got involved with this, it was so inexpensive when we got involved with it, and it's come so far, and it's just at the beginning. I had this conversation with a guy today. He said, well, and mind you, it's gone up like $8,000 since I talked to this guy. We're up, 5% in the last 24 hours. So had this conversation where he said, well, it's so high now. Don't you think that that's it? Is that not it? Is it going to go any higher now? I guess we're done. And I said, you know what? I've heard the same thing at $300. I heard it at $1,000. I heard it at 10,000. I heard it at 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. That was it. No, holy crap, it's so expensive. Why would you ever want to put that much money into something like that? It's not even real. It's not even there. And then 60, 70, and well, as my watch says, 97,939. And we've already been over 100,000 within the last couple of weeks. So it's going back. It's not a question. So is it a lot? Yeah, it's a lot. But it's like buying a house for 100 grand. You can't buy a house in a nice neighborhood for 100 grand anymore, a nice size house. That's kind of like what Bitcoin is right now. Bitcoin is like 100 grand. Let's say, well, it's 97.9, but let's say 100 grand just to make the math easy. You're buying a $100,000 house in downtown Vancouver. You're buying just, something that will be $1 million in just a few years. And of course, it's no financial advice at all, ever, guaranteed that. But, so we've been doing these for a while. We do the Newbie Tuesdays, the first Tuesday of the month from 7 to 9 p.m. And then we do the third Thursday meetups from 7 to 9 p.m. on the third Thursday. So first Tuesday, third Thursday, that's what we're going to do. I don't know. Well, we're still here in December. We're only leaving about mid-December. So I think we'll probably do December as well. Yeah, and then Wayne said he's going to take up the third Thursdays, and Betty might do a third Thursday. She's got some interesting stuff to talk about. Maybe Linda can do one about traveling and crypto. Wouldn't that be a cool one to do?
Yeah. Which one's the town though? What's it called?
Bitcoin Beach?
Yeah.
Yeah. got one of the original CryptoNutz members is down there now, living there full time, and he is an interesting individual, and he seems to think it's the way of the future. Apparently the whole country has been really turned around, and it's a lot safer now. They're starting to attract a lot more money now. They're attracting technology, cryptocurrency, you know, they kind of seem to go hand in hand. So it's a pretty exciting time, and you know, against all the odds, guess what? They've done pretty darn good. Right? And it's working. That's the thing. I mean, they're going to turn that country right around. They're talking about buying back their debt. Imagine that. Imagine if Canada could buy back some of its debt. I hope that we get a chance to see that, right? Sorry, what did you say? Without the need, yes, just through cryptocurrency. Because, you know, their statement of buying a Bitcoin a day until they can't afford to buy a Bitcoin a day. For a country to say that, even a tiny country, that's huge. I mean, you know, and you know, it's starting to play out now. We're starting to see that they're going to be extremely successful and buying back their debt. They're going to have probably reserves that most countries wish they would have. So let's hope that more countries start following suit with that. Okay, so cryptocurrency. Definition: digital or virtual currency secured by cryptography. It's decentralized. That's one of the most important things. It has to be decentralized. It has to be where everybody has control of it and nobody has control of it at the same time, so that it's safe that way. And transparency. You have to be able to look on the blockchain and see your transactions. Any transactions that you've done since the beginning of Bitcoin, you can go back there and you can actually see that transaction. And if you have the transaction number, you can actually look up that specific transaction and prove it to anybody that you need to prove it to, or vice versa. And it is transparent because everybody sees what's going on. And the security that it has, and this conversation came up a little while ago, and I did a Facebook post about this one. People are saying, oh, you know, what about quantum computers? Well, it's not an issue. It's really not an issue with this kind of a situation that we're in right now. When quantum computers come really into play, and if any nefarious people get a hold of them, all bets are off. Everything's gone. So just never mind about Bitcoin. The whole financial system is gone. Because Bitcoin is like 100,000 million times, I don't know the number, but a lot more secure than any of the traditional kind of financial instruments. So they're all gone first because there's trillions of dollars in there, and there's only 2 trillion in crypto. Question?
Just to add to security, Bitcoin's blocks auto-adjust difficulty every
4 years.
No, auto-adjust difficulty every 2 weeks. Or
Oh yeah, it's dynamic. Yeah.
So even like if computer powering advances, which it's supposed to,
yes,
it will not affect Bitcoin's block.
Is
the difficulty?
Quantum does, but that's a whole different conversation. And again, Bitcoin's only 2 trillion. There's hundreds of trillions of dollars in traditional finance that they'll go after first. So anyways, it's secured, it's safe. And it's a way that we can control our own value. And that's probably the most important thing. It was created by that mysterious person, Satoshi Nakamoto. Some people say that, what was that last guy that they said? What was the name of the last guy? It was a Canadian. I can't remember his name. I'll put it in the, yeah. It was that documentary. And I mean, you know what? And before that, it was Craig Wright, and before that, it was someone else. A lot of people believe that it was Hal Finney, and if you look up Hal Finney, you'll see that he really fits the parameter. Who knows who it is? Let's hope we never find out, because if we ever find out who Satoshi is, that could really affect Bitcoin in a negative way. Peter Todd, that's right, of course, yeah. Peter Todd, so, you know, they thought it was him, but he debunked it right away, and, you know, he came out saying that guy was just looking for sensationalism in a news story, in a documentary. So I don't really think he is Satoshi, but let's hope that we never find out, like I said. So Bitcoin started it, and it's the first decentralized cryptocurrency. It sparked the creation of thousands, and I guess it's literally millions of altcoins right now, because, I mean, you could create, you know, we could all create our own altcoin in the course of this meetup if we wanted to, but that wouldn't really fall into the parameters of a newbie. But we can do that one time if anyone's interested. We can actually all create our own coins. That might be kind of fun, because there's lots of different ways to do that, and it's not that difficult. So, who can give me the year that Bitcoin was created? Anybody?
2008.
2008, the white paper was.
Who said 2008?
Me.
Who said it first?
Maybe she did. I'm a little slow on.
Well, you've got choice. You've got a hat, a nice air freshener for your car, of course, Bitcoin theme. You know, a coin that's worth. Hold on. You know what? This coin is worth 1 Bitcoin. Do you want the one Bitcoin coin?
I do
There you
indeed.
go. It's not really, of course, they're all for fun. But in the early days when they used to create these coins, I bought a bunch of them. And these are old, like can't get those ones anymore. So they're collector coins, but they're not valuable. They just look cool and they're fun. And they came out saying they're worth like a quarter of a Bitcoin. I think that's what it says on there. People tend to like something.
Are you sure nothing's engraved?
Yeah, I'm very sure because I have some of the, I have some of those. So yeah, it's totally different, and some of those are pretty cool. I got one that I can show someone if they're interested at some point. I've got one of the original Litecoins, and what they were doing is they were actually taking the whole block and putting it onto one of these, putting it onto like a hardware wallet, pardon me, not a hardware wallet, a paper wallet, and then taking it and putting it into a hologram and putting it on the coin. And there's a known company out there, which I'll post in the notes. I don't have the memory capacity to be able to remember what it was called, but I have one of their Litecoin ones, and that's pretty cool because they take the whole block and they put it on this one coin with this holographic peelable thing that you can access it if you want. Yeah, it's very cool. So I've got one with a Litecoin, one whole Litecoin block on it. I wish I had one with a whole Bitcoin block on it, especially when they were 12.5 Bitcoins, but such is not the case. So that's true. 2008 is the year that Bitcoin came out. 2009 it actually came out for general public use. And blockchain technology, it's a distributed ledger that records transactions across many computers. That's a very simplified explanation, but it's true. I mean, really, there's all these nodes out there in the world that are keeping track of it. Just like a ledger in your bank has a ledger that they keep track of your account with, and all that they're doing is they have a centralized server that's keeping track of this. With the Bitcoin blockchain, it's just out there for everybody. It's even in space, several instances in space now. So it's immutable, it's out there, there's millions of instances of it out there, so even if a whole bunch of them go away, there's still others that can take up the race to make sure, and even if the internet went down, we've still got direct satellite transactions that we can do. So, blocks contain transactions data, and the blocks link together using cryptography. So basically, every time it creates a block, it lays it on top, one on top of the other, and it keeps doing that. So after a certain length of time, if you want to go back and try and hack a transaction that's back here, you have to first hack all the blocks on top of it. So it's really not practical, and you can't really do it. That's why it's so safe, and that's why it's immutable as well. So blockchain technology, we've kind of, around the group and that, and people that have been involved with this for a while, we've kind of taken it for granted, and we've kind of thought, yeah, blockchain, whatever. But it's really kind of revolutionary because it makes it impossible to change the transactions that have happened. So think about this in terms of, say, anything where it's got to be immutable, where it can't be changeable, like healthcare records or elections. Imagine that if they had blockchain for the elections. And we'll tune back in and see how Trump's doing in a little while, but because he's the crypto guy. But so supply chain management, voting systems, healthcare records, it has fantastic application because it's immutable and you can trust it. I mean, that's a big thing. How much can we trust our banks, really? I mean, not much. They make mistakes all the time. There's no way to look up what they do in a transparent kind of way. We can't check their ledger, whereas we can check Bitcoin's ledger. We can see if our transaction's in there. If you're making a deal with someone and you're doing that transaction, that person can say, yeah, I don't have a confirmation yet. Until I have a confirmation, you can't have my boat. And that's really it. Once there's a confirmation in your wallet and they see that, then that boat is yours. Well, that Bitcoin is yours, and you still got to take the boat away, but the Bitcoin's yours. And that's why Bitcoin is a great, great product for doing things like when you're selling to people remotely, a long ways away. I mean, as long as you're honest, because let's face it, if you send Bitcoin, it's a one-way trip. So as long as you're an honest person and you're selling something and you're really going to deliver it to them, you're pretty golden. I mean, you get your crypto, you ship it off, everybody's happy. Bad actors always spoil things like this, but can anyone here think of something that could benefit from an immutable blockchain? I mean, there's so many. We talked about the election here. I mean, that's something. I mean, there's almost any of our industries that we currently work in. We've all been in that situation, even in an office environment, where all of a sudden someone says, well, you took that. Well, no, I didn't take that. Well, who took that, right? It's.
I think nonprofits and governments could really benefit, especially in allocating funds and decisions, because in a DAO or something like that, it could be all recorded publicly.
Absolutely.
Voted on what and how the funds got distributed.
Absolutely, yeah. Government, not-for-profits, any kind of charities, organizations, certainly could have an immutable record. You'd know where all the money went, know where all the money came in. Maybe that's why some of them don't want it, though. Like, wouldn't it be interesting to have a blockchain for everything that went to some of these countries, like, you know, in the wars, like the Israel war and the Ukrainian war? I'd love to see a blockchain on that with every single accountable thing that we could track every transaction all the way through and see where it actually went. Now, wouldn't that be an interesting thing? But yeah, they're not going to do that. They're not going to adopt that. We know they don't want to adopt that. They don't want to know. No, I don't want to know. I just want to get. Okay, but that's where blockchain technology could come in. I mean, if we start making people accountable, if it's immutable, if we can look back on the transactions and determine exactly what happened, and everybody can do that, not just one person. Like anybody right now could get on their phone or on their computer and look up any transaction on the blockchain. So that's kind of cool. So just talking about a couple of other currencies. Ethereum, they introduced smart contracts, the ability of programmable blockchain, so you can do things like create things on a blockchain. You can create software, you can create coins, you can create anything you can think of. That's what Ethereum is. It's the ability to create things, to program. It's a programmable blockchain. It's a little different than Bitcoin. And Litecoin, faster transactions and confirmation times. It's 4 times faster than Bitcoin. And I put this one in here specifically for you, buddy. XRP focused on real-time global payments. XRP is kind of showing itself to be a player, you know, and now with some of this...
You all mocked me a year ago.
We're still mocking you. It's still crap.
800 million moved in 1 hour today.
No, I've never denied that you can make money with XRP. The real bad thing that I don't like about XRP is that they pre-mined everything.
Well, also it's the banker's coin.
Exactly.
And to me, it's just a means to an end.
Yeah.
When it gets to a certain great, I'll trade it for Bitcoin.
Absolutely. I did that early in the day with XRP. I wish I still had the XRP. I sold off when it went to 21 cents. You know, but that's a whole other story. But
What is it now?
it's like about $1, I think. Of course. But XRP is being adopted by the global financial community very, very strongly and very, very quickly. And once they get their problems with the SEC behind them, we do expect them to really take off. Okay, get started with crypto. Choose an exchange, set up a wallet. There's hot wallets, there's cold wallets. We don't really recommend paper wallets anymore because they're too easy to lose, too easy to damage, too easy to, you know, just lose all your crypto. And you just got to buy some crypto. Start small, just get a wallet, get a little bit of crypto. Watch it, get $100. Because then if it goes to 110, you can think, well, hey, if I had $1,000, I would have made $100, right? If I had 10,000, I would have made 1,000. But it's a good way to sort of get your mind wrapped around it because there's lots of time. It's like we're just at the beginning of all this. Hardly anybody even knows about crypto still, even to this day. So if you get in now, you still got lots of time to get going. And enable two-factor authentication on any of your things that you do. Always, whenever you're dealing with the web, even apart from crypto, you should always have 2FA on everything now because they're actively trying to hack you. One of the reasons we don't have a website right now is I got burned out resetting our server. We never had anything on there. All I ever had on there was just a website that kind of like a landing page that told everybody what to do. And I had every kind of security protocol you could think on there. And I actually paid subscription for it, so it wasn't crappy stuff. It was getting hit thousands of times a day by hackers. And it's like, oh my God, at this point it's like, okay, I'm just pointing it to Facebook. Let Facebook deal with it. I'm probably going to go back and get that redone in the next little while. But the point is that these hackers are out there trying to actively get everything that you have all the time, thousands and thousands and thousands of times a day. That was just a little website that nobody knows about, and it's getting hit thousands of times a day. But that's happening to everybody now. So 2FA is really important. Make sure that you don't really keep anything of much value on any kind of web wallet. You know, it doesn't matter what web wallet is, they're all crap, they're all connected to the internet, so you're gonna lose money at them at some point. I know people that have lost tremendous amounts of money on Exodus. Now Exodus you can use with a hardware wallet. So some of these platforms like MetaMask, Exodus, some of these other wallets, you can actually tie your hardware wallet into it, and then you've got a good platform. You've got all the functionality of these web-based applications, but you've still got the back-end signing happening with your hardware wallet. So that's a good way to go if you feel that you need some of these platforms and you want to use that. Just don't use it with the web-based platforms. They're just really, really bad. So there's some best practices, and these are things that we should all do all the time, no matter what, and we should always remind ourselves about these things. So even though a lot of you are more experienced than most newbies, these are things that we've got to keep reminding ourselves about. And protect your private keys. Don't share them. Don't tell people about them. Don't even tell people that you have crypto at all. That's your best way into this, is because, you know, people, you never know who you're talking to, and you never know about what their perception may be. You may have just a couple $1,000s worth of crypto, but all of a sudden they think you're some kind of crypto millionaire, and they're going to abduct you and do some kind of crazy stuff. So just don't even get yourself into that. Don't talk about it other than to say, yeah, I've heard about it. It sounds pretty good to me, you know, and that's about all you got to say. Phishing scams. Oh man. One of our members just recently, I won't say who, I won't mention anything about it, but came to me not that long ago and asked me about this investment plan. And you know, this is the same story I was told so many times, but it's a very current story. And I said, it's crap, you're gonna get ripped off. And I thought that was it, but it was not. And they went ahead and they invested in this and they lost all their Bitcoin. And you know what? Whenever someone tells you something that's too good to be true, it always is. And I know it sounds obvious, but I said to him, I said, hey, why did you do that? Why before you know, the stupid thing is they came in and asked me to show them how to use their hardware wallet, which, you know, that's not a problem. I would do that for any CryptoNutz member that wanted to know how to use their hardware wallet. I didn't know that's what they were going to do. They were going to send all their funds into this crypto scheme and lose everything that they have. But, you know, that's the lesson that we all got to think about, that you can't think that I can't be scammed. What you got to realize is that absolutely everybody can be scammed. You know, your first mistake that you make is saying that they can't get me. That's number one, because they can always get you. These are really good. These people are really good at this scam, and they know what they're doing. They know how to answer all the questions right, and they know how to play on your personal preferences and what you want to do with your life story and everything else like that. So you've got to realize that it's just a scam, and you just can't get involved with it. So phishing, email, fake websites, there's a whole bunch of different ways they use this. You get that email that says you're going to get something, odds are you're going to get scammed. That's all you're going to get.
I've heard of scammers like faking police reports and police records.
Absolutely.
And, like,
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yeah. There's just a whole host of things going on. Question?
What is this scam? They send 100 million of Ethereum to you and it ends up in your account.
Yeah.
What's that about?
It's not just Ethereum. There's actually a whole bunch of tokens that do that. And I don't want to talk too much about that because, you know, I don't want to get a whole bunch of people researching on how to do that. Not that, you know, I talk to that many people, but I could talk to you about it afterwards. And it's basically just a way to fish information out of you. That's what it is. They try and get you to respond to them. And they're trying ultimately to get your private keys.
So don't try and deposit it into your...
If you haven't bought it, you don't own it, and it's crap, and they're going to scam you.
Okay.
That's the rule of thumb. And you will see that with the ETH specifically. There'll be tons and tons of these tokens, and some of them, believe it or not, will even have dollar values to them. They'll look like they're valuable because they've put their own money into these things, right? So I mean, you can make any coin valuable. Like we said, okay, now we've created that coin. All of us created our own coin. Well, how do we get a valuation? Well, it's easy. You take $1,000, you put it in there, you issue 3 or 4 or 5 coins. Now they're $500 a coin. You just have 50 million of them left over, right? And you know, there's easy ways to try and make it look like it's real. Another scam that I've personally been involved with is there was this one where this guy came to me and he said, hey, I've got a whole bunch of USDT that I want to sell. And I said, okay, well, that sounds good, but you know, no problem. I buy that stuff all the time. It's a good token, and I can change it into Bitcoin or whatever else. So comes and I give him my address, he sends it to me. I look on sending it to my Trezor, and I look on my Trezor, and yeah, it says USDT, but it has a 0 value. There's no value. He says, okay, I sent it to you. And I said, yeah, you sent it to me, but that's not real USDT. He says, yes, it is. Look, it says right there, USDT. And it really did say USDT, but it was USDT of 0 value. So they did something. Maybe they put a space in there. Maybe they did something. I don't know how they did that, but.
The only way to verify too is to look at the contract address.
The contract address, exactly.
Contract address that it came from, it's legit. If not,
Exactly, and you can do that in your Trezor. You can put the actual contract address in there and actually look at that. But this was a newbie and they didn't really know that. And so when they sent it to me, I had to try and explain I had to send it back to them. It cost me like $2 or $3 in ETH to send it back to them because I didn't want it. Like, I don't want it, right? Because I don't want him saying to someone, hey, I sent all this crypto to him and, you know, I never got anything and blah, blah, blah. So I sent it back and I didn't charge him anything. It cost me, like I said, $2 or $3 worth of gas, and I sent it back to him. But yeah, there's so many of these scams, and for the newbie especially, this is really important because it looks real. They show you something. They show you something that says USDT, and all of a sudden you have 10,000 of these. And then they show you on CoinGecko or on, you know,
what the value
Coin
is,
Market Cap, they show you what the value of 10,000 USDT is, and you go, wow, this is real, and I've got it in my Trezor now. And, you know, meanwhile, it's a scam. But that's how they hook you. They send it to you first, and they make it seem like it's legit. And so you think you've already got it. And that's how they get you. And then another way that they do it is they will actually, once, like for instance, what happens with this unfortunate person I'm talking about, they sent all their Bitcoin in. Okay, well, they got your Bitcoin. Now you're never getting anything back. But then what they say is they say, okay, sent it back to you with all the extra that we talked about. Here's a screenshot. Here it is on Coinbase. Look. Like I said, you send me 1 Bitcoin, I'm sending you back 1.45 or whatever, right? But now to release it from blah, 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 and I said Coinbase, it could be any platform. To release it from them, I need another 0.1 of a Bitcoin. So they get you to go and send them more. Of course, you never get that back either, because it's all just a scam. But it's really nefarious in the way that they do it. It's awful, but you know, it's what we're facing. It's our world, unfortunately. So, does anybody know what a private key is in cryptocurrency?
Yeah, your keys for your wallet.
Okay.
It's the key that generates the public key. It's basically, if you want to think of it like a mailbox, the private key is the key to the mailbox. Your public key is anything.
And what does it do?
Your private key?
Yes.
It encrypts the message to send. Like, it encrypts, when you're sending a transaction, you basically have to encrypt your private key with your public key.
That's right. It signs the message. It signs it. It validates it. Mm-hmm. It validates transferring your coins to another. Okay, well you get to pick some. I'll let you pick 2.
Crypto mama.
Crypto mama. There you go. Or you need to find a crypto mama. Yeah, there you go.
One single.
Okay, good answer. All right, so future of cryptocurrency. So DeFi, I've done a presentation on DeFi, and DeFi is primarily on the ETH blockchain. There's other blockchains that are doing it as well, but it's primarily a function of the ETH blockchain, and it is definitely a big part of cryptocurrency. And it's like financial services without banks controlling it. That's really what it is. Everything that a bank can do, borrow, lend, you know, speculate, everything that a bank can do, that a traditional financial system can do, you can do with that in a DeFi kind of yeah, like instantaneous. Yeah, or like if you want to buy some stocks and you put your order in on Friday, you don't get it till Monday and the stock.